Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing today? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Throughbuck Theater, and with Rambo, Last Blood hitting theaters this weekend, and only looking to pull in an estimated 18 million domestically. There's a lot kind of going against this movie, right? You have the critics not liking it. The fans are actually more interested in it than the critics are, but that's not quite enough to get people in the theater to go and see it, especially when there's other competition like Ad Astra and the Downton Abbey movie, which is currently looking to pull off the number one slot. But the most interesting story surrounding Rambo Last Blood is not that the critics didn't like it. It's that the Rambo author is embarrassed by the movie and agrees with its bad reviews. Now, this kind of blew my damn mind because I'm like, wait, the book was written way back in the day. Like, this guy has been involved for years. And he doesn't like this movie? What? Okay, let's find out more. So, David Morel, who hated Rambo Last Blood, and he hated it, and he's telling anyone on social media who reaches out to him about the movie. He's the author of First Blood, which came out in 1972 and first introduced fans to Rambo, the character Stallone has made famous, which is true. But one could argue that the original idea of John Rambo, the PTSD-stricken former veteran of the Vietnam War, and what he went through against the police in the Northwest, vastly different than what we've gotten in the last four iterations of the character. But that being said, Morel has been involved for quite some time, so he isn't bitter over a rights issue or anything like that. It looks like he was excited for Rambo 5 and promoted the movie on Twitter before the opening, which we are going to show that. And then he saw it. Now, I kind of find that hard to believe. I find it hard that he just saw the movie, when it came out. I'm pretty sure he saw a bit more than he's letting on. Anyway, after watching Stallone's new movie, the author shared a news story rounding up bad reviews, calling it, with critics calling it like a MAGA fantasy and an orgy of death. Now that just come on. A MAGA fantasy and an orgy of death. This is Stallone we're talking about here. He ain't right wing. Anyway. This is the tweet here from David Morel saying, I agree with these Rambo Last Blood reviews. The film is a mess, embarrassed to have my name associated with it. Now, you got to kind of laugh at that right there, right? The author of the original book comes out. It published nearly 50 years ago. And, he's like, oh, I'm embarrassed to have my name attached to this character. Never mind, I've been collecting a paycheck off of him since the early 1980s. But this is the critical consensus at the time of recording of this. We have, again, 29% on the tomato meter with 87 reviews and an audience score of 84%, which I do believe is up from the 82% it was at when I talked about this movie yesterday and the fact that the critics didn't like it. So this is what he goes on to say on Twitter. When Stephen Law here says, got 3 tickets to check it out. Congratulations. What a brand. Big fan there, clearly. Big fan of Rambo. And he responds back with, I hated the film. Now, I have to love this guy's blunt approach to it, right? I hated the movie. Nom, 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 is what it comes across, right? But he goes on. Even this guy here, David Rice the Wider, says, even if this movie is as bad as Waterworld and or Battlefield Earth, it will still get my $9 to go and see it, if just to learn how not to write a screen script. And if you know anything about Battlefield Earth, the author of that movie has come out and said, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I said it. I'm so sorry I said anything. I'm so sorry I wrote that movie. It's terrible. But Morel responds here with, Waterworld is a masterpiece compared to this. Check IMDb from 1976's Trackdown, starring Robert Mitchum's son James, with the same plot. Rambo Last Blood is a clumsy exploitation film. Yeah, it's kind of funny in my opinion. Like I said, this dude's been around for he's been around for a while. He's been around for a bit. This is not like he hasn't been actively involved in the character for nearly 50 years now, like I said. And again, you gotta love how it changes because back in the day he published this. This is the New York Times best-selling author David Morel, Rambo 3. He wrote the novelization of the movie. The novelization of not only this movie, but First Blood Part 2. He didn't write the script, but he took the script and he adapted it into a novel, and it's still on sale today. But this is the description. David Morel's First Blood introduced Rambo, who joins the ranks of Sherlock Holmes, Tarzan, James Bond, and Harry Potter as an international thriller icon. That's right, folks. Harry Potter is an international thriller icon. You can't make that up. In this further adventure, Rambo is in exile, far from home in Thailand, vowing to renounce violence and war. When his country calls on him once again, he refuses to accept, but then he learns his former commanding officer, Colonel Troutman, the only man he trusts, have been captured by the Soviets on the Afghan border during a mission that Rambo rejected. For Rambo, it's a call to arms and a mission back into hell. The novelization and the film have many differences. Read the story that the film could have had. Yeah, read the story that this dude wrote that the film could have had if they would have gone with him to write it. I find that to be fundamentally funny, in my opinion. I do. I find it to be exceptionally funny, in my opinion, because David Morel here has been capitalizing and profiting off of this character. He's been actively engaged in this character. He's written many books about this character. And now he comes out and he's like, as if he didn't get the script back in the day when they were getting ready to film this thing, as if he didn't talk with Stallone about how to tell the story, because he did. He did talk with Stallone about how to tell the story, and he wasn't a huge fan of it. But he wasn't a huge fan of the movie. But this is the thing. These are some tweets of his from the last couple days. And as we can see here, he has been full on promoting this, right? Before you see the movie, read the book, buy it on Amazon. Here's this special edition of Rambo 3 Knife in a Package that includes the collector's edition of my novelization for Rambo 3. And he just keeps promoting it. He promoted the trailer back on September 12th. The trailer for the movie. Seriously, 9 days ago, promoted the trailer for the film. I just find it to be really funny. That even says here September 19th, with Rambo Last Blood debuting in the U.S. theaters this evening, the film's distributor Lionsgate declared today to be Rambo Day. Sounds good to me. Here's a Forbes essay about how the franchise impacted how movies are released. Rambo Day, right? The guy's got no problem with self-promotion. He's got no problem. But when the critics don't like it, now that all this stuff, I feel like he's kind of turned the table. I feel like the character of Rambo has been known in its current iteration for quite some time. It's been talked about for nearly 50 years. And we've seen it through 5 movies now, over the span of nearly 40 years. And yet, here's the guy, the author, coming out and complaining, saying he's embarrassed by it when he's been actively engaged in it. So I'm sorry when I find when I say that David Morel here is kind of full of it. I think he saw that the wind was blowing the other direction, and I think he wanted to potentially salvage his reputation. And so he's like, "Ooh, no, the critics don't like the movie. I'm going to come out there and also say I don't like the movie." Now, it's entirely possible he didn't like the film, but it's very rare for a creative to start actively bashing the product that he's been so intimately involved with since its creation, because he is the progenitor of it. I can't be the only one that thinks it's a little bit weird. I can't be the only one that thinks that. But anyway, I want to hear your thoughts and your opinions. Let me know down in the comments below. If you saw Rambo Last Blood, let me know what you think of it. I will talk to you all later. Have yourself a fantastic day, and peace out.